Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to round 15 of my Formula 1, my career mode with Michael Schumacher at Haas F1. Breaking news, as you've just read, Sebastian Vettel has announced his retirement at the end of the coming season from Formula 1, which means there will be a seat available at Ferrari. Now, the cynics among you may be able to deduce that Codemasters released their long-awaited performance update this week for the game, which has changed all the cars' performance ratings to match their real-life, current season performances, which obviously means the Ferrari teams and the Ferrari engine teams have had massive performance hits. I mean, serious performance reductions applied to them with this update. And it's no surprise to me that the first time I load up the game, after installing this update, I get an email that says Vettel's retiring from Formula 1 because he realises his car's going to be even slower. That's funny. That couldn't have been timed any better, Codemasters. Honestly, that could not have been timed any better in the game. But yeah, we're going to have to get used to this. Now, actually, how much of a performance impact this game is at the performance patch is going to make, I don't know. On the fancy charts and tables in the R&D tree, it looks like Ferrari, Haas, Alfa Romeo have been severely nerfed in the power department, but whether that then is kind of offset a bit by improvements in other areas, because most people think that all the performance update has done is change the engine statistics and stuff, but actually they've actually increased a lot of the things on the car, because generally speaking, in this 2020 calendar that we've had so far, the cars are way faster this season than they were last year. All the cars are faster this year than they were last year. You know, which is one of the reasons why they've done the rule changes that they're going to be doing and stuff like that, because it just gets insane how fast the cars get each and every year. You know, we keep seeing that at every race with new fastest lap records and new track records, which are, you know, seconds faster than the old ones. So, although the engines have been decreased on some of the cars, you may have actually got gains in aero and chassis, which kind of doesn't make the performance reductions as drastic, unless of course you are Ferrari, in which case Ferrari have just been absolutely slapped in every department. So we don't drive for the red team in this career.
It's time to remind ourselves of our top
now, the good thing is, having done free practice 1, free practice 2, and free practice 3, I got all my R&D points. I did all my programs, and I'm going to be having a nice, fancy, smancy, brand new engine put in for qualifying, because engine 2 is starting to get a little bit knackered, and once again, Grosjean doesn't contribute enough points to the team, which is probably the reason why in real life Haas have announced this week at the Portuguese Grand Prix that they will not be renewing Romain Grosjean's contract into 2021, nor will they be renewing Kevin Magnussen's contract into 2021, which means Haas finally, for the first time in 4 years, have 2 open seats in their team where they can hopefully put in some good drivers. Some actual good drivers who can actually drive the car and not crash into each other and not crash into other people, and can actually, you know, maybe score some points, you know. And, you know, I'm just putting it out there, as I have done in previous videos, that if Haas are looking to sign 2 drivers, you probably can't go wrong with Sergio Perez and Nico Hülkenberg, who are just kind of out there on the open market, don't have drives for next year. But anyway, we head into qualifying, and I'm just trying to put a little bit, again, I don't know why, I'm pretty sure I click go to track as soon as qualifying starts. As soon as the session starts, I'm go to track, flying lap. So how do I always end up with a car in front of me? You know, and it's a slow Ferrari that's in front of me that I'm going to be chasing and bogged down with all that. Ugh. The good thing is, though, that it should help me to beat Charles Leclerc in my rivalry this weekend, because chances are now I will be able to out-qualify him, because he's not going to be very fast with his now heavily nerfed car, performance nerfed car, and then I should beat him in the race as well. Which should mean I actually get to put a bit of daylight between us in the old rivalry before we start to head to the Mickey Mouse tracks like Singapore and Sochi, which is the slightly worrying thing, because all the good races are over now. All the good races are over now. We've just got the tripe coming up for the rest of the year now, until we get to places like Mexico and America, and then yeah, that's about it really. That's about it for good tracks. Wow, 219 miles an hour down that straight. That's not a heavy performance. That's not a heavy performance loss. Good enough for third place in Q1. I'm happy about that. We'll take that. Then we'll head into Q2, where obviously now comes the strategy decision. Let's stick the mediums on and make sure we start on the good tyre for the race. We should have enough to get through into Q2, looking at the timings. So strap on some medium tyres and out we go. And again, I'm behind a car. So I'm just actually going to slow down. Down this straight, I'm just going to take it nice and steady. Let the car in front of me, you know, disappear. I don't want the dirty air and everything. Because in that Q1 lap, I did make a few, I would say, mistakes. The car did get a little bit unsettled heading into some of the corners. And I did make some mistakes. I'm hoping this lap's going to be much cleaner. So, hopefully, without any distractions from a Mercedes ahead of me, I can put in a super storming, stonking lap time here. And I'll tell you what, being able to hit 219 kilometers an hour down that main straight, or sorry, 219 miles per hour, should I say, down that main straight, that is very impressive. Very impressive. That is fast. And there's Charles Leclerc setting a fast lap. And that's nice of him, but it ain't going to be good enough, because I'm going to be smashing that time. Tell you what, we are quick. In a straight line, we are quick. Monza, of course, is always the circuit you like to come race at. If you like speed, you come to Monza. And like I said in my F2 race last season, Monza was the first circuit I ever raced in a video game. Way back on the old Amiga 600, in the Formula 1 game on the Amiga 600, Monza was the first circuit I ever drove at. And I've always loved Monza since. It's so easy to race around Monza. It's definitely a great track for beginners to racing games, because it's a lot of straights with a couple of corners. Not as technical as some of the tracks. It's just a case of, can you keep your foot down and keep it down hard enough. Right, Q3 then. Here we go. Flying lap, straight out. I'm not even going to look at the timing charts this time. I'm not going to waste any time because I don't want to be behind a car. But it looks like I am, once again. So again, I'll just slow down a bit on this straight. back off a bit, although I can't back off too much because I've got a Mercedes right behind me. So I can't afford to slow down too much. I have run a little bit wide into the parabolica there, which is going to compromise my speed a little bit down here as I start the lap. But seeing as I tend to be on the rev limiter right at the end of this straight, I don't think it's going to make too much of a difference. I think 219 is the fastest speed I can get out of this car because the gearbox doesn't seem to allow us to go anymore. And I've made... why have I made such unforced errors through that section? Why have I put wheels on the grass? That was poor of me. This is not going to be a good lap time. We're definitely running max engine. We are running hot lap ERS deployment, which just seems really weird because I don't seem to be spending a lot of ERS. I don't seem to be deploying a lot. I'm still, you know, 80 odd percent, looks like 80% ERS. Well, that's good enough for P2 at the minute, but I imagine other guys yet already are starting to knock me off down the table. So we're currently sat in P4. I'm gonna go and do another run. I'm gonna do a second run, I think. One more. I feel I can get on the front row. I feel I've got enough in this car to be able to get onto the front row. Might not be able to get pole. I should certainly be starting on the front row. And I don't want to risk being knocked down to the third or fourth row. So we're putting in another run. Yeah, 200 and... yeah, I can't hit 220. 220 would have been the dream, but we've maxed out on gear ratio and on rev limit, so no chance of us breaking any speed records down there. Although I think we are the fastest car in the speed trap. I did notice in free practice. Wow, nearly a second up. Nearly a second up. This is a phenomenal lap. Track evolution has definitely come towards me. So through there. Oh, just lost the back end. Just slide. Just got a bit of a slide coming out of that turn. That's cost me a little bit of time. It's cost me a little bit of time. Still 7 tenths improvement. That'll be good enough for lap for P2, I'm guessing. Front row of the podium. Yeah, front row of the grid. Brilliant.
We're all ready for tomorrow's race, but before we begin, let's have a quick look at those who will be fronting the grid. Bottas, Schumacher and Lewis Hamilton. Well, that wraps up qualifying, but don't worry, we'll be back tomorrow as we head into the Grand Prix.
So I managed to split the Mercedes, boys, which is great fun. And also, I managed to whoop Charles Leclerc. So, in your face, Charlie boy. That gives me a 3-point lead now in the rivalry with 3 races remaining. And, yeah, hopefully after the race, that'll extend even more. Right. Let's get into it then, boys, shall we? Race day here at Monza.
Welcome back to one of only 2 countries that has held a race every year since the very first Formula One World Championship in 1950. It is, of course, Italy, one of the great racing nations. And it's time to get underway for the Italian Grand Prix. With top speeds reaching 215 miles per hour, only a few places can challenge Monza's crown as the fastest circuit in F1. Hard braking zones going into the 3 chicanes make up the majority of the 11 corners on this 3.6-mile circuit. And just in case the slipstream wasn't enough, 2 DRS zones will help encourage some closer action. And with me as usual is Anthony Davidson.
I don't get to experience the DRS zones. That's the only trouble with being at the front of a race. You don't really get to experience the DRS zones like you would if you was back in the pack.
Much of a silver lining to starting down the field with a penalty, but I think they'll be able to make some of that back up over the course of the race.
Well, Danny Rick's own fault. He knows the rules. Don't change your gearbox until you've done 6 races.
And Schumacher completes the front row. Looking at the rest of today's grid, we have Hamilton, Verstappen, Esteban Ocon, and Stroll, Norris, Sainz, Vettel, and Alexander Albon, Perez, Grosjean, George Russell, and Kvyat, Gasly, Giovinazzi, Daniel Ricciardo.
Leclerc's taking a penalty as well. See, Leclerc's trying to cheat all the time. He keeps taking these grid penalties, keeps fitting these new parts. I don't think that's fair in a rivalry. I think you should get penalised points if you're taking new parts in a rivalry. Because I've not used any new components at all. All season, I've used only the elements that I've been originally allocated. I've not taken any extra engines. I've not taken any extra gearboxes. I am racing by the rules. Don't know why the other teams can't do so as well. We're going to take some extra fuel, 3 laps worth, because obviously I do have memories of Spa in my mind and not being able to defend on those final laps from Max and Lewis. And again, Lewis got bogged down in the second phase of the start, got a lot of wheel spin, which enables me to slip on by. Actually, that wasn't Lewis, that was Bottas. Yeah, that's understandable then, because Bottas is rubbish. Verstappen's managed to jump Lewis, though, on the start as well, so good start from the Red Bull. Of course, all those guys are on the soft tyres, apart from Billy Bottas, who's on the mediums the same as me. Why is Bottas trying to stick his nose in there? That's a good way to lose your front wing, Billy. And it looks like he has done. There's never an overtake there, Billy. That's a mistake. And that's why Bottas will never win a world championship. Makes far too many errors as a driver. Doesn't have the racecraft.
Good job.
Why he will always be a number 2. But there we go. First lap. We survived the first lap. We've done quite well. Got a nice bit of a lead. And obviously throughout this race I'm just going to be using rich mix on the straights like now. And then dialing it back, and then obviously deploying ERS where I can, when I have it available to me. So just managing those 2 and alternating those 2. I should have pretty good pace over a whole lap, which should make me somewhat safe from the cars behind me. Of course, the cars behind me are only going to be dangerous in these first couple of laps on their soft tyres. Once their soft tyres start to go off, then they're in trouble, because they'll be boxing before me and they'll be pitting quite a bit earlier than me in this race. Like I say, my current strategy that I picked before the race was to start on the mediums, because I qualified on mediums, and then switch to the hard tyre. But you know what? might be open to changing that strategy as this race progresses. Because one of the things I've come to realise is on this circuit, with all these lovely long straights where you're just driving fast, your tyres tend to get pretty cold. Your tyres tend to lose a lot of temperature on the straights, and then you get to the corners and they're a little bit cool. And I think that situation will get even worse with the hard tyres, because they're going to struggle to get any heat into them at all. And then to have cold tyres in the corners is not what you want. So maybe, just maybe, I might have to call an audible in this race and actually switch to the soft tyres at the end for my second stint in my pit stop. Because the soft tyres will obviously be much easier to be able to get warm and keep warm. So we'll keep an eye on that. It'll also then definitely give me the advantage in the strategy, which is something I didn't have at Spa, where the other guys, the other teams, were on the faster compound at the end of the race compared to me, who was on the hard.
Great work. That's a new fastest lap of the race.
New fastest lap of the race on lap 4. Well, let's fast forward a bit now, because obviously there's not a lot actually happening in the race at this point. So we'll jump ahead to lap 9 here.
We're approaching the pit window. You'll be on the
hards. Jeff's telling me we're approaching the pit window. We're going to be on the hard tyres. Like I say, I am probably going to change that strategy. For one thing, I'm not going to box when the team tells me to box, because as you can see from my tyre wear on the screen, these medium tyres have got plenty of life left in them. So, I'm not going to be worrying too much about that. Go as long and as late into the race as we can, and then I've got less laps to do on the soft tyres. I've got less laps to do on the soft tyres then. I think Sainz is out of the race, yeah. Carlos Sainz is out of the race. Poor Carlos. Poor Carlos. Hamilton's managed not only to re-overtake Verstappen, but Ocon's managed to get past Verstappen
Be careful,
too.
we think you're going to start losing some tyre grip around now.
So Verstappen's had a bit of a mare at some point in this race. We know Bottas had front wing damage on the opening lap, so he's had to box, so he's relatively quite far down the field at this point. His race is pretty much over.
21.9 seconds.
But there's the difference that DRS makes, and not having DRS in the race. In qualifying, we were hitting 219 miles an hour down that straight. Here in the race, I'm only able to hit 204.
Caution, yellow flags ahead. No overtaking through the caution zone. Be careful until you see the greens.
Yeah, Carlos has parked up. His poor McLaren has broken down. Poor McLaren. It's around about this time in the race that I would expect the cars behind me to start boxing. The guys on the soft tyres, Hamilton, Verstappen, Ocon, Albon. It's around about this point in the race that I would be expecting them to be making their pit stops.
We're going to box this lap. Push hard on the in-lap.
No, we're not boxing this lap, Jeff. Not at all. Not on your life. The AI have pitted on this lap. So they boxed on that lap. I've now skipped ahead to lap 14. They are now 30 seconds behind me after their stop, so now's my chance just to smash in a couple of laps and just basically take these tyres to the end of their window, their usefulness. I'm not going to run them right into the red, but you know, we'll take them to the end of their useful life period, and then we'll box. So probably got about 3 more laps on these tyres before I box for the softs. I've decided I'm committing myself to the soft tyres. I just think they're going to be better for me at the end of the race. Be able to keep heat in them with all these long straights. Of course, Jeff's been telling me to box for about the last 4 laps, but I keep ignoring him. Because right now the race is pretty much nullified because we're all on the same tyres at this point in time. So the AI definitely can't go faster than me. Or if it is going faster than me, it's only marginally faster than me. Not enough that they're going to bring that 30-second deficit right down. So this is where me going longer really pays off in a race. Also, come the end of the race, they're going to have done a lot of laps on those medium tyres. Boxing around lap 11 when they did, that's going to leave them with, what, 16 laps to do on a set of mediums? Yes, the tyres will do it, but they're not going to have the performance at the end of the race, which I will still have on the softs. So this is where tyre strategy comes in absolutely perfectly. And if you're able to be kind to your tyres and still be fast, then it's a win-win for you in this game. That's what I find anyway. I find for me, because I'm kind on my tyres and I can make them go longer, whilst at the same time still being fast lap after lap after lap after lap, it seems like that goes against the AI. That gives you, the player, a massive advantage over the AI. Because I think the AI's tyre wear is like scripted, so it's always going to wear at the same rate, you know. The AI can't save tyres like we can. And here we go, lap 16. One more lap. We'll box at the end of lap 17. That'll give us 10 laps to do then on the soft tyres, which will be enough. I notice as the fuel rate has come down, we are starting to get a little bit faster on that start and finish straight. We're now hitting 210 miles an hour down the start and finish, so we gained 6 miles an hour in a straight line as this race has gone on, as the fuel has come down in the car, the fuel load, which amazingly I still have a lot of excess fuel. Even after 17 laps, even after like doing the alternating rich to standard, rich to standard, rich to standard throughout the lap, I still have a lot of excess fuel that I just haven't burnt off yet. Maybe taking 3 extra laps was a little bit too much at the race start, but it's nice to know I've got plenty in reserve. It's also nice to know that come the end of the race, those final couple of laps, I'm going to be able to go for the fastest lap point, the extra point for the fastest lap, because I can turn the motor up, because I'm going to have plenty of excess fuel. In we go. We're in. I'm not expecting miracles here from the team. They usually don't do any amazing pit stops. Normally 3 seconds.
Go now.
For some weird reason, I don't seem to be able to get good pit stops.
Okay, stay clear of the white line on the exit. We'll receive a penalty for dangerous driving if
That's
you cross
the one
over into the
area.
track.
That's the one area I think the AI does get an advantage. The AI does seem to be able to change tyres in pit stops much faster than the players' team. If you go back and watch all the videos in this career mode, you'll notice that nearly all my pit stops for tyres are 3 seconds, 3 seconds, 3 seconds. Like it's scripted to be always 3 seconds. Yeah, I've seen the AI do like 2.2 seconds pit stops, 2 seconds. So they can sometimes gain a second in the pits. I don't know if there's a way in this year's career mode to upgrade your team to be better at pit stops. In previous games, it was one of the things you could negotiate in with your contract. You could buy like perks to make your you could get perks in your driver contract when you renegotiate with a team to reduce your pit stop time. I don't think that's in this year's game. I haven't seen it. I haven't come across it. I'm not really sure on that one. But yeah, as much as I like driving Monza, and if, like I say, Monza is one of my favourite tracks to drive in a racing game, it doesn't make for the most exciting of races at this point because it's pretty much under control. Hamilton's 11 seconds behind me. You know, he's lost 11 seconds over the course of the race. And that was probably down to those laps where they pitted and I carried on going. The fact that I stayed out much longer. All those extra laps that I did when they were on the mediums, I was able to put some time in, obviously. Once they had lost their advantage of having the faster soft tyres. And of course, at this stage in the race, they're now on the wrong tyres. So every lap right now, I am increasing the gap to them. As you can see perfectly there by that message from Jeff, who says the gap was 10.7 seconds, but actually it's 11.1. So I've gained 0.4 of a second just through Parabolica and down the main straight.
Gap to teammate behind is 32.3 seconds.
Yeah, Grosjean's not out the races. I hope we can replace him at the end of the year. I hope we can get a different teammate. That would be kind of cool. Somebody who's better than Grosjean, who can actually, you know, be a teammate, be competitive. Because I'm showing what the car is capable of in these races, you know, so there's no reason why we shouldn't be serious constructors challenges if we could get both drivers constantly scoring points every weekend. I seem to be carrying the team at the moment because Grosjean doesn't match me. Apart from Monaco, where obviously he did get the win. He got the win in Monaco, but, you know, I had gearbox issues in that race because I was on my 6th and final race with that gearbox. That's the only reason Roman got the win there. But of course, we go from this race to Singapore next So that's going to be a different circuit. Different, whole different race there. Lap 21 of 27. I think we'll skip ahead in a minute. We'll skip ahead and get to more or less the end of the race. There's nothing going to happen. There's not going to be any excitement or dramas in this race, I don't think. We'll jump ahead to lap 26, the penultimate lap, and we have caught a Williams. This is our first back marker of the Grand Prix. So we're going to get to do a bit of lapping. We're going to get to lap a car. I think it's Nicholas Latifi. I imagine it's Latifi. He's put me off a little bit through there, and now he's kind of dawdling. But what I want to do is I want to ramp this up. I want to go fastest lap on the last lap. Just for the, you know, just for all of everything, you know, the pride. Because, of course, as Jeff did remind us, this was our engine supplier's home race. So although Ferrari will not be winning in Italy, a Ferrari-powered team will. We'll be on the podium, and obviously it'll be a great result for the team. Great result, obviously, for Michael, given his history with the prancing horse team. Final lap. I don't have a lot of ERS left, I'll be honest. Struggling to get 20% above 20%. I noticed we did start not recharging it as much as the race went on. As the race progressed, our ability to recharge the system was actually coming down. So over these last couple of laps, I've actually had less and less energy recovery system to deploy on a lap. Oh, I'm on the grass, that's not good. I'm not going to be setting fastest lap here, I don't think. We'll see. We were very quick in the second sector, but coming down to the finish line, you can't tell. Because the race ended, I couldn't tell if I was fastest lap there, last lap. But I had the fastest lap anyway before that. I was just trying to break my own record. But we'll see.
It was a tough race at times, but they've held on to take a great victory for Haas.
It wasn't a tough race at all. It was easy.
What do you think it was, Ant, that gave them the edge over the competition today?
I'd say it was down once again to good, consistent driving, nailing the corners, working to the track conditions and perfecting the team's strategies. They got all of these things right today, and the results speak for themselves.
Yeah, see, Anthony's got it right.
The quality and fantastic result of the Haas team will have been noticed by everyone else out there today. You can see why everyone's taking them so seriously. These drivers will be hot property by the end of the season.
Ooh, yeah. We'll be in the market. Like I say, given the performance update that Codemasters have done, my initial plans of sticking with Haas into Season 2 might now actually be under consideration. I might decide that maybe I want to be in a Mercedes-powered team going forward, because...
So let's review the updated driver standings. Schumacher increases their championship lead. So, Anthony Davidson, who would you rank as your driver of the day?
Daniel
Michael
Ricciardo
Schumacher,
certainly impressed
obviously.
me today. An incredible performance.
It's time to see how things are shaping up in the Constructors' Championship. Red Bull take over as championship leaders. Meanwhile, Renault move up the table with another strong performance this weekend. Well, that was certainly an incredible weekend of racing. Be sure to join myself and Ant for more exciting Formula
I've got
One
a free
action
race
soon.
lead at the top of the table over Max Verstappen in the drivers. 3 race advantage now. Wow. And obviously Bottas, they yet again letting down the Mercedes team by basically not keeping his car in one piece.
Great work out there today. Let's have your thoughts. How are you feeling after that win?
I feel amazing, thank you.
You performed better than last weekend. What changed?
Having enough fuel and ERS at the end of the race. That was the only difference. That was the only thing that went against me in Spa, was the fact I couldn't defend against the attack, the late attack from Verstappen and Hamilton. Something that I rectified this week by going too far the opposite way, by having way too much fuel at the end of the race. No, I'm not interested in signing for McLaren, because unfortunately in this game they will not have Mercedes engines next year like they will have in real life. They will still be McLaren Renault next year. I don't want a Renault. I don't want a Frenchie engine in my car. Who wants a French car? Nobody. So for me, it's stick with Haas or jump to Mercedes if given the option. If Toto comes calling and says, look, Michael, we've got a bit of a problem. As you're aware, Billy Bottas is a waste of space. He's incapable of getting the car to the end of the race in one piece. Oftentimes he's actually incapable of getting to the end of the race. Perhaps you could come and drive with us and be a number 2 to Lewis, and actually be a number 2, which means finishing number 2 in every race behind Lewis. And I'd be like, sure, Toto, show me the money. Anyway, we're going to do an upgrade for the aero. We're going to do the front wing, because at least that does give us the option of developing the major upgrades for the front wing and rear wing and the drag reduction. We're not going to do a lot of engine upgrades, because we are pretty good on the engine department, I have to say. Reliability wise, durability wise, I would at some point like to get that extra, not the control electronics, the MG UK, that one. I would like to get that one done as well this season. And then I think, certainly heading into season 2, this car would be very, very good, because we won't have the durability issues like we're seeing here on these initial first season parts. They're going to be much stronger next year. So again, what we'll do is we'll switch the engines back to engine 1 for practice sessions and doing me research points, and then we'll save the components 3 for the race, for qualifying and the race. And with a bit of luck doing that, I should be able to get to the end of the year without having to take any penalties. It would be great if I could go a whole season without incurring any penalties. Seeing as we are going to Singapore, we will probably want to take a softer tyre balance for the race. I think it's softs we want. Again, it's a night race. Temperatures are going to be low, potentially. And then obviously Sochi after that, we probably want a softer tyre balance again, because it's a bit of a Mickey Mouse track with lots of walls, so you're going to want lots of grip so you don't skid off and crash into things. But there we go, folks. That's been round 15 completed. When you come back for the next video, we will be tackling Singapore So look forward to that one. We've also got another retirement announcement from Carl, and it's going to be Kimi Raikkonen. So Raikkonen and Vettel are calling time on their careers. Again, I'm guessing because of the performance update that's ruined their cars. They've decided they want out. So thank you everybody for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this video. I'll see you in the next race. Goodbye for now.